So good evening. I'm Robert Polito, Director of the New School Writing Program. It's my pleasure to welcome you on the occasion of the award ceremony of the National Book Critics Circle Awards. We want to welcome everybody back who attended last night's powerful evening of readings by the nominated writers in fiction, poetry, nonfiction, criticism, biography, and autobiography. Those of you who are here will, I think, readily admit that you experienced something stylish, wondrous, and rare. We want also to welcome all the critics and reviewers who've come to New York from newspapers and magazines all across the country. The graduate writing program of the New School is honored to co-sponsor these award ceremonies with NBCC. As you know, the National Book Critics Circle Awards are the only literary honors that are bestowed by practicing critics and reviewers. Last night, Eric Banks, the president of the NBCC, reminded us that the very first recipients of the National Book Critics Circle Awards included E.L. Doctorow, Paul Fussell, R.W.B. Lewis, and John Ashbery. So to honor that first NBCC award ceremony, and as another way into tonight, I thought I'd read a short bit from that first National Book Critics Circle Award winner in poetry, a brief passage from the title poem of John Ashbery's Self-Portrait in a Convex Mirror. Self-Portrait in a Convex Mirror. On the surface of it, there seems no special reason why that light should be focused by love, or why the city falling with its beautiful suburbs into space, always less clear, less defined, should read as the support of its progress, the easel upon which the drama unfolded to its own satisfaction and to the end of our dreaming, as we had never dreamed it would end. In worn daylight, with the painted promise showing through as a gauge, a bond. This nondescript, never-to-be-defined daytime is the secret of where it takes place, and we can no longer return to the various conflicting statements gathered, lapses of memory of the principal witnesses. All we know is that we are a little early, that today has that special lapidary todayness that the sunlight reproduces faithfully in casting twig shadows on blight sidewalks. No previous day would have been like this. I used to think they were all alike, that the present always looked the same to everybody. But this confusion drains away as one is always cresting into one's present. So that was the first NBCC, and now to keep the present cresting, as Ashbery says, please join me in welcoming back the president of the National Book Critics Circle, Eric Banks. Eric is a... He deserves that applause, but let me say that Eric Banks is the former editor at Art Forum, and in 2003 he relaunched Book Forum, where he served as editor-in-chief until 2008. His writing on books and on art have appeared in numerous magazines, periodicals, and newspapers, including the New York Times Book Review, the Financial Times, and the Chronicle of Higher Education. And now, Eric Banks.
Thank you very much, Robert. Good evening, and welcome to the National Book Critics Circle Awards. My name is Eric Banks. I'm president of the NBCC, and it is my pleasure to join you in honoring the 30 authors whom we celebrate tonight for their outstanding works in 6 categories: fiction, nonfiction, biography, poetry, autobiography, and criticism. We are fortunate to have represented on the stage this evening the most exemplary works published in the past year. I'd like to extend our gratitude to all the authors who have come to join us tonight, and to say a special thank you to the representatives of our 2 finalists who are no longer with us, Manning Marable and Ellen Willis. We're flattered and excited to have you all here. The National Book Critics Circle Awards were founded in 1974 out of a conversation that took place at the storied Algonquin Hotel by a group of critics who wanted to establish a set of awards given by critics themselves. Unlike other national literary awards, there would be no books nominated by publishing houses. It would not be funded by publishers either. Instead, it would be the critics themselves who would nominate and judge the titles they thought most worthy. As Robert Polito noted just a minute ago, that nascent group of critics did a fantastic job honoring with the inaugural 1975 prizes E.L. Doctorow's Ragtime, John Ashbery's Self-Portrait in a Convex Mirror, R.W.B. Lewis's Edith Wharton, A Biography, and Paul Fussell's The Great War in Modern Memory. In the 37 years since those first awards, the NBCC has grown to include some 600 member critics and editors of book reviews from across the country. And the number of judging categories has expanded from 4 to 6. We also have added 2 honors to show our appreciation of individual critics and distinguished institutions. Each year, the Nona Balakian Citation for Excellence in Reviewing honors a member of the NBCC for exemplary work, and the Ivan Sandrof Lifetime Achievement Award is given for a body of work that has shaped and maintained our literary and critical culture. The various activities, panels, and events that the NBC sponsors have also grown far beyond what the original Algonquinians or Algonquinites, I'm not sure what you would call them, might have had in mind. But we hope to continue the great work of our forebears in recognizing the most vibrant and valuable titles published each year. As expressed in our simple but succinct mission statement, the goal of the NBCC is to honor outstanding writing and foster a national conversation about reading, criticism, and literature. Tonight is but an instantiation of that ongoing year-by-year mission. Before the phrase DIY entered our lexicon, the NBCC was already a bootstrap organization that drew upon the volunteer services of so many in the literary community, not least today the critics who make up our 25-member board and have spent the last 12 months giving their time in reading and discussing the hundreds of titles we consider each year, and finally organizing our 2 days of ceremonies. Could I ask all the NBCC directors please to stand now and be recognized for your effort? We also wouldn't be able to put such public, free-of-charge events together without the help of so many other people. I'd like to thank in particular tonight Robert Polito and the New School University, particularly Lori Turner, for their generosity and their tremendous hospitality. I'd also like to extend a thank you to Paige Zielinski and Chelsea Philpott, our volunteer assistants, and to say a special word of thanks to our tireless web manager / tech genius / miracle driver, David Varno, who, as I pointed out last night and I'll point out tonight, has mastered every single task asked of him, all the way down to driving in seltzer, lemons, and limes and picking up an extra bottle of vodka for tonight's benefit reception. I also want to extend a very special thank you to 2 publicity geniuses who stepped up to offer their services this year pro bono, Lauren Saran and Sarah Russo. These 2 have helped us to spread the word about our 30 great books that we honor tonight in ways that we only used to dream about. So thank you very much, Lauren and Sarah. Tonight's awards are the cap of a year-long set of discussions and deliberations among our board members. We reached our decisions only about an hour ago and a block away. In the same space where we convened throughout the afternoon, our benefit reception will take place immediately following tonight's awards. That's at the Lang Center. It's at 55 West 13th Street on the 2nd floor. We invite you to join us to toast all the finalists for this year's awards right after the completion of tonight's events. Tickets to the reception can be purchased at the door for $50. I hate to mention the price. We always do everything that we can to make NBCC events free and open to the public. This is the one event of the year where we ask you to chip in, but at $50 in this town, it's a steal. And we hope you will join us to help support the National Book Critics Circle. Additionally, I'd like to point out that the books by all of our 30 finalists are available for purchase outside the door. Tonight's finalists run the gamut from poets to biographers, novelists to critics. They represent publishing houses as august as Random House, Farrar, Straus and Giroux, and the University of Chicago Press, and as scrappy and shoestring as Open Letter, Lookout Books, and BOA Editions. They include a first book about the literary ghosts and contemporary reality that is Harlem, a first novel about a psychiatric resident in the streets of New York and Brussels, and a collection of short stories by a master of the form who is receiving belated appreciation. Their topics range from Karl and Jenny Marx to semiotics majors at Brown in the 1980s, from conscientious objectors in World War I to Guns N' Roses and MTV's The Real World. And without further ado, I'm pleased to introduce the chair of our Balakian Award Committee, Carolyn Kellogg, to present this year's Balakian Citation for Excellence in Reviewing. Thank you for joining us.